There are many things that excite me about regenerative ag. I think one biggest one is something new, the challenge of it, what the positives are of it. And it's exciting to do something new and cutting edge.
You go into regenerative agriculture in a very idealistic perspective, and it kind of slaps you in the face when you first get started because it is such a big change to go from one spectrum to another like that.
We were looking at the potential of raising our cattle grass-fed, and throughout the research of looking at grass-fed cattle, I ran across Dr. Alan Williams, and he gave us advice on how to change our grazing practices from traditional set grazing down to very specific grazing, and we've converted all of our grazing to adaptive high stock density grazing.
We went from a pretty severely overgrazed situation to grass finally growing even on hilltops.
We were one of the first ranches in this area to really implement the rotational grazing systems, and it can really be seen in the difference in the quality of our habitat for livestock production when compared to a lot of our neighbors.
I have seen the improvement in the grasses, I've seen the improvement in the wildlife, and less inputs, less chemicals. You just have to understand succession takes time.
In 2010, there wasn't a single pasture on the ranch that measured more than 1.25% organic matter. And the second time we took a test was 2017, and most of the pastures were over 4% organic matter at that time.
What's happening underground is an indication of what's going to happen on top of the ground eventually. And it may not be that day, but it will happen in time if you keep doing it right.
Whenever you're making changes to move more towards a regenerative agricultural system, of course there is a capital expenditure up front, and so you hope that you've made a good investment. The rate of return on that investment has been very good, I would say even in the shorter to medium term and most definitely in the longer term.
There's the thought that if you increase the number of cattle, that you've got to increase equipment and you've got to increase manpower. And that is not the case. You're out there putting in a step in and reeling up polywire, and you don't need another tractor to do that.
Even in that old style of management, you still check your cattle every day. So are you really creating anything new? You're not, you're just actively moving the cattle, but you're gonna be out there anyway checking your cattle. I mean, that's what we do as in the cattle business.
One of the other benefits that we're seeing in this is because the cattle are moving every day and they're in a confined area, we're able to see every cow and calf and bull that we've got. This way, if there's a health problem with a cow or a baby calf, we can address it right then.
If you have pasture land that's just static, there's no net increase in the amount of carbon you're sequestering. If you activate it with cattle and regenerative agriculture, then you have that delta. And so that's where the landowners are going to start to say, wow, I can get baseline X, but I could get X plus Y if I employ these regenerative practices.
As we start to enter into this carbon market opportunity, we want to do better. We want to do better for the forage itself, for this ranch, for the rangeland. We want to do better so that we can have a more profitable year.
I think the carbon credit market is possibly the catalyst to get ranchers and landowners to convert their practices to more regenerative. So this is one of those few moments in agriculture that's a win-win for both people.
I think the most exciting thing about it is that there could be a very large increase in price per ton of carbon, as well as just the newness of it and kind of the Wild West attitude and feeling of the whole industry as everything becomes a more mature system of carbon trading.
There are opportunities here that we've been given that are with people that we can talk with, that value our feedback. That's been important to us.
Businesses are holding themselves accountable for their actions in regards to releasing carbon, right? And rewarding people that are doing good things. And it's a great way to make it happen is through carbon credits via grazing and carbon sequestration.
The result of practicing this way is that we increase the quality of water, we increase carrying capacity, we increase forage, we decrease bare ground. The carbon sequestration and the carbon markets are just a piece of the bigger picture about the benefits of grazing this way.